What's up?
Oh,
Okay,
we're
we're live.
I thought we were gonna do the
Yes,
3, 2, 1 again.
I did 3, 2, 1, but I figured, you like it when we're
Three,
kind of in
two, you're too late.
conversation. Yeah, there's the 3, 2, 1 contact. That'll be a good theme
Oh, I
song,
remember
right?
that show.
Yeah, we're dating
And
ourselves a lot right
now I've
now.
got that song in my head, totally in my
It's a
head.
good song. Good song. Hey guys, welcome.
Hi.
To anybody who's out there or who's watching on the replay, hello. Welcome to
Hello.
the debut episode of what I'm calling I'll Take the L. For
I
many
just got the
reasons.
notification.
Yay! Okay,
Yay.
so
You're back.
we're back, right? My YouTube channel is going to be like the 192 people that are subscribed to her to be like, what? She's doing something? I thought she was dead. So I am Pigs in Space, and I'm so happy to be doing this with my very good friend here, who will introduce herself and let you guys know who she is. Go ahead.
Oh, right
I don't
now.
want to know. Do you want to use your name or not? I don't know. Like, I'm just going
I'm
by Pigs in
Angie.
Space because that's what everybody knows.
I'm Angie, Brown
Yes.
Girl Life. First name Angie, last name Brown. I've been a brown girl my whole life.
There you
This is
go.
not my channel, but you can head on over to mine. I don't make content a lot right now, but I used to.
Yeah. Yes, you've got a very small social media footprint right now.
Very small. Very
Yes.
small.
Yeah. Probably best that way.
For
So
now.
yeah. So I wanted to just what we're gonna do here is I kind of just wanted to have a place where I could talk about things that I see or feel that are happening in my life, your life, in the social media space when we talk about things that relate to our life. I don't think there's a lot of that discussion. So let me just I have a YouTube channel, The Last 50, where I've talked about my weight loss. We'll get into it in a few minutes, but I've lost a significant amount of weight and I'm trying to just get to this arbitrary goal that I set for myself. And I was kind of making content that was showing that. And I was trying to really keep it real and show what the reality, what the struggle is, what it is to be somebody who's lost a significant amount of weight after being morbidly obese hey Gladys, being morbidly obese their whole life. And it's not all roses and fairies and wonderful stuff. And none of that ever seems to come up in this space, even with people who I see who are on weight loss journeys or who have been channels that they don't really talk about a lot of that. And on Instagram, Twitter's like a cesspool when it comes to that kind of stuff. So YouTube and Twitter and Instagram, there's not a lot of real. I think Instagram probably has more reality than YouTube does, but it's not ahead by much.
Right.
So I just wanted a place where I could be this is what happened today. And I said to it, I was like, Angie, if God helps somebody who was,
I'm so sorry.
It's okay.
She has no respect. She's twisted up in my
Gladys, I'm trying to talk here.
Oh my gosh. Okay.
I was like,
now.
if I should happen to go to the grocery store and some bitch dares to put their arm in my cart and tell me that I should eat ice cream or something, I'm going to talk about that and I'm going to have a place to throw a fit about it. So that's I just wanted to have a place for this. Also, I'm older. I'm 45. I'm going to be 45, and there's not a lot of focus on fitness and health after 45 and what happens as you get older. If you are if you are overweight, if you are trying to lose weight. So I wanted to have a informal conversation about this. It doesn't I'm not going to come out with a ton of factual information unless it's something that I want to back up with factual information. My other podcast that I do on Sundays, we give very, very, very specific factual information. So I wanted some place where I could have a lot of feelings. And Andrew was the first person I thought of to talk to because we always have these great conversations about it because we both, I think, see it from a very, very different point of view in a lot of ways. And I think also we are close in age. So I think we see it from an age perspective as well, I would think. I feel that way. I feel like watching it as an older person, not in their 30s or late 20s, is different. It's very different perspective.
Mhm.
Also having children and having had like a lot of more different life experience than the people we mostly see talking about it. So I think that's a
Right.
lot. There's a lot to unpack in that. So Angie, why don't you tell us about your like experiences so far, like what you've been up to, like what you were doing with your content, like your backstory a little bit, and then so we can everyone can get to know you.
Get to know me. Well,
Yeah.
I've been a big kid all my life. I've started gaining weight around 7 years old, and I was never really a crash dieter. Like, I never dieted as a kid. I just didn't understand. I didn't understand that like whole mentality. Like,
Mm-hmm.
I lacked discipline. I really lacked discipline. I didn't understand how people could like not eat not eat sugar. Like, how do you not eat chips? How do you just like walk away from that, right? So
Mm-hmm.
it just wasn't what I did, and I was okay with it. Um, I was just just obese. Like, I wouldn't call myself morbidly obese, and that didn't really happen until after I had my daughter at 26. Then weight really became a really big issue. The
Right.
first time I did a crash diet was like I was about 30. It was after I graduated from college, and I on my graduation night I took a photograph outside at night. And you know how like when you're in the dark and you take a photograph with a flash, like the only
Yeah.
thing that shows is you. And I just had no idea how big I was.
Yeah.
Like, and I couldn't believe how huge I was. Like, I just was stunned. And so it was like right there, I was like, okay, I'm going to try, whatever. And I don't know, I did some crash diet or another, and I had a good amount of success. But I was literally eating chicken and sweet potatoes and spinach
Hey
every day,
man, that sounds like
every
my
meal.
diet. You got something to say about that? I eat that every day. I'm kidding. Go ahead. She knows she knows I'm right. That's why she's laughing, because I do eat that. I don't mind it. I don't even
But
care
I
anymore.
did, like,
Yeah, no, I get that. Like I get
I,
it. No.
it wasn't like working for me, and we'll get to why, because there's a reason for it.
Mm-hmm.
And it, whew. So fast forward like a few years, I tried a few other diets. Diets just didn't work for me. I just couldn't stick to them, and I didn't understand why. And not only could I not stick to them, I was just the typical one. You lose weight, you gain it back, you gain more. So I just stopped because it just was easier to not try. It was easier for me to exercise. Like, I could
Mm-hmm.
exercise, and I could do all sorts of things like physically. I, lift weights, I could, but I don't know, dieting just wasn't my deal.
Right.
And fast forward to like 2018, I discovered intermittent and extended fasting. I had a lot of success with that and a lot of failure
Mm-hmm.
as a result. I had a hysterectomy in 2016, developed a couple of hernias from that. And then 2019, I started my YouTube channel. I was doing keto, and I was doing intermittent fasting, and I was doing CrossFit, and I was
Mm-hmm.
loving it. Like, I was living my best life. I was doing like one meal a day, and I was doing all this fun stuff, and I was doing great. And then February 2020, I developed a bowel obstruction
Right.
from my hernias, and I had to have emergency surgery. And um, as a result, just the path that recovery took, I
Oh
ended up
yeah.
being diagnosed with binge eating disorder. And looking back, this is why restricted fad diets don't work for me. And
They don't
they
work for
may
a lot of
work for
people.
they don't work for a lot of people for a
Right.
lot of various reasons, but for me, it was the binge eating. It was the restricting
Mm-hmm.
always led to binging for me.
Right.
I'm really good at restricting, but I'm not good at the aftermath.
Right. Right.
So,
No, that's makes a lot of sense.
yeah. So I stopped making content in back in 20, when I had my surgery, because I just have been trying to figure out, what I'm going to do. How do I'm not focusing on losing weight.
Right.
I want to be really responsible when I share my story about
Mm-hmm.
my recovery and not try to, put my issues on anybody else and
Right.
that kind of thing. And 2020 was a shitstorm. So
Right.
it was
Yeah.
pretty crappy for everybody. And I went through a lot of other things in 2020. And so, just been taking care of myself. 2021 was really rough to start, and it's been getting better and better with, time, therapy,
Right.
friends, and family and love. And
Right. And you've been in
now
therapy
I'm
for
here.
your binge eating disorder. So just
Yes.
to put that out there, that's what she's referring
Yes.
to. And
Therapy for that, and
yeah.
as well as just like therapy for 2020,
Yeah, well, yeah. I think everybody needs therapy for 2020, but yeah.
Yes. We
Um
deserve therapy for 2020.
they should make it mandatory for everybody, right?
Poor
God.
therapists. They deserve therapy.
I can't imagine what they're hearing. I can't imagine that. I feel very bad for them. So yeah, so now here we are, and I'm forcing you to do this with me.
Oh, seriously, like she ripped a tendon in my arm when she twisted it and everything, all the way from there to here.
Yep.
It's
So
just
my
mean.
story is a little bit different than you. I was probably heavy from, I think, even younger than you were. Like I just, my mom likes to say this story where she said that like I was very sick when I was younger, and they gave me food to make me feel better, or a treat to make me feel better, or something. Um, and and that just kind of started a bad cycle of like comfort eating and stuff like that. So I can't remember a time when I was any like thin, like small.
Hmm.
I remember being put on fad diets very young, like in like third, fourth, fifth grade, like young, and just that sets you up for like a lifelong failure, right? So I got to the point where I was like between 420 and 430 pounds when I was in college, my senior year of college, and I graduated. I went to grad school, and I think I saw pictures of myself from that graduation, and I like freaked out because I had no idea how big I looked. Like I just didn't, and I saw that
Isn't that
picture.
crazy?
It is completely nuts, like completely crazy. And I started doing just like dieting, like like Weight Watchers or something, and I dropped about, maybe I want to say I got down into like initially like 300s, and then I think I kind of flattened out around 270, 280. And then after I got pregnant with my first child, I was really sick during my pregnancy. I had hyperemesis, which was terrible. And so my weight really didn't go anywhere because I was constantly vomiting. So it just kind of stayed at 270. I think maybe it jumped up to 280, but that was it. Like I did not gain a ton of weight from pregnancy. Both times. And after my first child was when I started walking, because I wanted to just do something. Like it was a way for me to get out of the house with the baby, and she liked it. And I started to walk like 7 miles a day, and I was really feeling good, but I wasn't eating right. So nothing really happened. It was just kind of like a maintenance. After I had my younger daughter, I kind of decided I really have to do something. And I knew I had to do something back then too, because I would not be able to walk across campus without feeling out of breath. I couldn't fit into desks. I couldn't go to the movies and fit into seats comfortably. It was like a lot of things that were impacting my life. I did not have a lot of health issues per se. Like if you took my blood work, it looked great. Like it didn't look like I had anything. My blood pressure wasn't very high or anything like that. There was nothing that would indicate that I was going to drop dead because I was so fat. I have a family history of diabetes and heart disease. So on both sides of my family. So that was kind of something that was always in the back of my head. But there was no medical reason for me to be like, I have to, it was more like impacting on my quality of life, which, and then in turn impacts your mental health. Right. So, so after my younger daughters, I really was like, I gotta do something. My husband is extraordinarily supportive. So and that made a huge difference in a lot of it. Prior to marrying my husband, I was in a very long-term relationship and it was not great towards the end. And I never really ever felt very supported of like going out and like somebody motivating me and telling me that you can go do this and you can go out there and exercise and you're doing great. Like, I think it was definitely a situation, and I know it's going to sound weird, but it almost was a situation was like, I think he was it was a little worried that if I dropped a lot of weight, I would like leave or something. And he was into that. And he was a bit overweight himself too. So having a really supportive partner was like a huge difference. And I started with boot camp and HIIT training and eventually found weightlifting. And this is now 6 years ago almost. And now I'm down to 180-ish. So I have dropped a total of almost like 250, 260 pounds.
That is awesome.
Which is amazing. Like I never in my life thought I would ever be able to do this because I had been on so many diets and had gained and lost and gained and lost and gained and lost. And, something that is a point that I was thinking about while you were talking and I was listening to you is that, I got to this place where, I got under like, 300 pounds. I got under 250 pounds. And I still couldn't look in the mirror and be happy about what I was seeing for many reasons. Part of it was because of like the skin situation that was going on because I had I'm older. I don't have the elasticity. I've had children. So my skin was not going to bounce back from that. And, it's really hard when you want to feel proud of yourself and you can't because you don't like what you're seeing. So I had removal surgery done. I had 2 procedures done. I had my arms done and I had almost a full body lift done and a breast augmentation and lift. So so like the top of, from like my waist up our stomach up has kind of been taken. I'm going to have a revision because I've lost more weight and it's again there. And I need at some point I have to get my legs done because it's awful. But like I did this not because I felt not so much. Well, it's not because I felt. I didn't like what I was seeing in the mirror, but it got to a place where it was becoming like it was inhibiting a lot or impeding a lot of my progress. Like I couldn't move the way I wanted to. I couldn't exercise the way I wanted to. So like, it was not just a cosmetic thing. It got to a point where I was getting annoyed just from a physical standpoint. So, and then at some point during this, I started doing my blog and I picked an arbitrary point number. I was like, I think when I hit 200 pounds, I said I was going to do this blog for like, to lose the last 50 of them. And, I was like, chronicling this and, I thought there wasn't a lot of people out there who were, there wasn't a lot of success. You can tell me too. There don't seem to be a lot of successful weight loss YouTubers. Like there are and there aren't. Like you could probably count on your hand the big successes. Honestly, it's like one of those things. Like I just literally got a notification today and saw that one of them was going to stop, not going to be losing weight now. Like they're just not going to do it right now. And
I saw that.
Yeah, and so I was like, I want to put this out there where people can know what's really happening when you go through this, and at the same time, show them it's what normal is, right?
I feel like because I've heard you tell. This is probably the 4th time I've heard you tell somebody your story, and I love your story so much. I love the way you tell how you you went through your weight loss, because it took you 6 years to get where you're at
Yeah.
right now, and you're not finished. And when you're like us, I mean,
Right. Yeah.
when you're over, when you have 200 or 300 pounds to lose, and I don't want to say that there's any best way to lose weight, whether you lose every pound by exercise and diet, whether you have weight loss surgery, or a combination of both, or whatever works for you to get the success you're looking for, that's what's best for you, right? So, but when I think about how patient you had to be, how frustrated you must have been, like during your pregnancies when you were at your sickest and wondering,
Right.
like, when am I going to be able to lose weight? That's what I go through every single day, like,
Right.
because I still binge, and I can't lose weight and binge at the same time. When am I going to get to the point where I can stop binging and lose weight? Like, all of these things that when you're in the midst of it, you just don't know.
Right.
You just don't know, but it's still like you're still moving forward, because you got
Right.
bills to pay, you got kids to take care of, you got work to
Yeah.
do, and that's what weight loss is. Like, that's what weight loss is. Like, we both got the same notification that somebody's
Right.
going to take a break
Stop.
right now because they
Right.
got other things going on. But that individual is still moving forward with their
Yeah.
life. And
Right.
I hope they don't give up on weight loss, but they have to take care of what they got to take care of right now.
Right.
That's real life. But what you see is people usually at the end of their
Yeah.
loss, and then you see people maintaining it. It's this great story. It's this compelling story. It's like, but we're not there for the 6 years. And I don't know, people watch people in the midst of the 6 years, and they get frustrated because they expect overnight success. Well, I don't see you having overnight success. And, and
Yeah, I talk a lot about on Sundays. We talk a lot about how the body just doesn't work that way, right? So unless you've had weight, and I am not making a judgment, whatever you need to do, you do. So unless you've had weight loss surgery where you're significantly like cutting out the amount of food that you can actually eat, you're not going to be dropping weight like in a year. You're not going to be dropping like 200, 300 pounds. I mean, that's just,
unless
unless you're starving,
unless you decide, yeah, unless
all
you
you're
decide
doing
to
for 8 hours a
be
day.
like, unless you decide to be like the fasting fat man and not eat for 5 months,
Yeah.
and you know what, it worked for him, and okay,
Yeah.
like, again, I'm not judging people anymore, so I'm not going to judge him either. But still, like, even if you have weight loss surgery, you still have so much work to do, and it still takes time. Like, that's still a year of your life that you have to be faithful, and you have to eat the correct way, and you have to do all those months on a liquid diet. You had your skin surgery, and you had to,
I was out.
how long was it
The
that
first
you
one
had
was
to stay like
2 months.
that?
Yeah, when I did my arms, it was 2 months, and then with my stomach, with my other abdominal surgery, it was longer because I had a small complication, and that really put me over the edge because it almost tripled the recovery time. So I was out for a good, probably like I would say almost 5, 6 months and that was not what I planned on having done at all. So, so Dad, hi guy, hey guy, how you doing? From what I heard, a lot of those fad diets really put your system into famine mode. Is that true? Absolutely. Yes. Let's.
I'm just seeing the chat now. I'm sorry.
Oh, no, sorry. So, like, so when you're somebody who's like me and Angie, who have a lot of weight to lose, and you're gonna diet, right? If you have like 200-300 pounds to lose, first of all, you have to get real and figure, and understand that the amount of calories that you're eating every day to maintain that weight is tremendous, like, compared to what you should be eating, right? So, a pound is like 3,500 calories. And if you want to go into a deficit, you would lose a pound a week is to just go into a 3,500 calorie deficit a week. So you cut back 500 calories a day, which, is not as difficult as people think. Don't get that Frappuccino, Venti, Frappuccino, whatever, but regardless. So for people who are extraordinarily heavy, we don't really have to curb our diet that much to
Right.
see a weight loss. And I think that's what the problem is and why we see that famine mode happening, and we see a lot of loss and gain and loss and gain, because I think when people diet, they automatically assume that they have to go and like, I'm going to go on an 1800 calorie diet and I'm going to, you know, this and this is what I'm going to eat. And I, even though I don't really like this kind of food, I'm going to eat it. And, you know, that's just setting yourself up for failure, because if you're going on an 1800 calorie diet and you're coming from, let's just say arbitrarily, you've eaten like 4,000 calories a day, you're cutting, It's like a severe cut in your calories. So your body's like, why are you starving us? And it's going to react to that. You're going to drop weight, but you're going to also be starving.
Like, and you're going to be miserable.
Right. And that's what's going to lead to binging or just saying, fuck it, I don't want to do this anymore, you know? So, you know, right from there, like, I think I always tell people, go see a nutritionist or a dietitian or some who can talk to you about that. Like, figure out what your what you're burning. So I always get a body comp, find out what you're just burning while you're sitting there, you know, just existing, and then take it from there. Like, I mean, you don't have to go into starvation mode. And I think that's the problem, is that a lot of people who are wanting to lose a lot of weight think they automatically have to starve themselves. And I am not all about fad diets or whatever major diet plans, but I think in some ways Weight Watchers kind of gets this a little bit, because they take into account, I think, that when they do their point value, like, you eat more points the heavier you are, and it comes down and down and down. And I think in some ways that kind of accounts for that you're not going straight from eating to like a starvation diet. You're just like slowly kind of paring it back.
Right.
So, you know, I don't preach any way to specifically eat. I don't follow any specific kind of diet in sense of like high protein, like low carb. I don't, you know, I just try to eat within my calorie range that I set for myself, and know that I work out pretty intensely. So I need I need to make sure I'm helping my body get through that. But, you know, if you pair like just a small calorie deficit and say like just like getting up and sitting down and get it like that, you can see a weight. I have a friend who was really overweight. She got COVID and she got pushed back. She was severely in the hospital, really got sick, and is having lingering lung respiratory problems. So she's literally back in the gym, and she's literally standing up and sitting down on a block. Like, that's her exercise, because she's got to get her lungs back. And even if you're in a situation where you're not impaired, but, you know, if you're so obese and you don't have a range of motion, just even doing that for like 15 minutes, 10 minutes, and pairing that with a calorie deficit, you'll see a difference. You don't have to decide.
That's how I started doing CrossFit.
Right. You're not going to starve yourself and go have to run 3 miles to be successful. That's not, you know, that's what we are told we have to do, and what we're shown we have to do. And when we see people on social media who've already, like you said, completed their journey or are at the end of it and can now do that and can run like a marathon with not a problem, you know, we feel like we have to be doing that ourselves too. And that's not where it's at all. Like,
and you know,
that's not where you start from.
That's one of the things I've debated. I've gone back and forth about taking down the videos on my channel, just because I'm not focused on weight loss anymore. But that's one of the main reasons why I leave my videos up. I was in between 330 and 360, I think, in my videos, and I did workouts I did CrossFit style workouts in a CrossFit gym before CrossFit got canceled.
Right.
And
got canceled.
Because it was important to me at my size to be in that gym with all those other people. And I worked with the trainer, so I worked alone. I didn't do classes, but it was important to me to be in the gym at my size doing those workouts because I can, and because other people my size can. And so I'm much heavier now, and I still do those workouts in my house.
Hmm.
I still do those workouts in my house. I don't have, oh, obviously, I'm not like doing wall balls with medicine balls and
Right, right, right.
whatever, but you know, and it all started with doing squats holding on to the rig because I was not coordinated enough and I
Mhm.
didn't have enough hamstring strength to do a single air squat by myself. But, you
Right,
know, whatever, I can do 100 squats in 10 minutes now.
right.
And I
Yeah,
weigh
I
more
mean,
than, you know,
I am like, I am pro fitness. I believe that fitness for everybody. There can be some type of fitness for anybody, regardless
right.
of what that looks like. Whether it looks like, standing up and sitting down, walking up a flight of stairs 4 times a day, whatever it is. Like if you're moving, and I believe that there's something that anybody can do. Like there's modifications that can be made in anything. And I think we put I think we put too much emphasis on exercising being specifically something that happens in a gym where you're
Hmm.
running or doing cardio or lifting weights, and or you're outside running or doing something that requires a lot of physical exertion. That is not the only form that exercise comes in, and it's absolutely not the form that every single person can actually get exercise or
Right.
achieve any kind of exercise. So fitness comes in all forms. um, and where you start and where you end up are going to be completely two different things. Like I really loved
Right.
hit training and I hate it. I wouldn't do it now. I go now, but my thing is I lift. Like that's what I like to do. That's what keeps me
Hmm.
coming back every day is lifting weights. um
Right.
but I think again, let's just tie it to social media. That's all we see, right? It's all we see is everybody's in a gym. Everybody's doing that. I have one new friend on Instagram who I just met through a friend who's in my town, who's starting her journey, and she's just walking during the day on her lunch break,
Hmm.
and it's fantastic. Like she's documenting it, and it's fantastic to
Hmm.
just see for her to be out there. She was somebody who was like, I don't know if I can do this, but I'm going to do it. And she started, and she's had a couple of setbacks, but she's picked herself back up and got out, and then she's doing it. And that's the kind of thing I want to see more of, because that's reality. For every person who's like you that doesn't have a problem going to the gym and wants to go to make sure that people our size are there and other people can see that, there's 10 other people who are like, I can't do this, I can't do
I
this, there's
can't
no
do
way
it.
I can
Yeah.
go out, I can't do this, I can't do that. And that's,
Yeah.
I
On
completely understand it.
every workout video that I posted, people who were significantly smaller than me were like, I couldn't do that. Hundreds of pounds, like
Mm-hmm.
over 100 pounds small. I couldn't go to the gym and do that. Well,
Yeah.
I believe you could, but I understand, and I'll tell you what, like I really want to go. I used to walk, I walked, well, I've talked to you about this, how I used to walk, 3 to 5 miles over the course of a day. 5 miles at one time was still too much for me, but whatever. And I because of everything that happened last year, I ended up not doing that anymore. And God, if I could just get back to walking every day, I would give anything for that. Like I would give anything for that. Like, whew.
Is it that you're hurting? Is you physically hurting, or you just don't
um,
have the time yet to like really
well, it's
stay?
just the situation right now in my community is kind of
Yeah.
tough. And
Yeah.
then I'm trying to find a better pair of gym shoes. Like I had great shoes, and then I just got a new pair of Brooks,
Okay.
and
Those are supposed to be very good.
I just don't like them. I
Oh,
just don't like
really?
these particular pair.
Okay.
They're really hurting my knees, and I spent over $100 on these stupid shoes, and Brooks have never let me down, and these particular pair are just every time I wear them my knees really hurt. So I'm gonna have to just eat that $100 and just try another pair. But it's
Mhm.
hard to find, I'm so disappointed because it's usually the
Right.
launch line from Brooks is good for me,
Right.
but this particular one I got, just it's not, and it's the most recent, so I have to wait for the next.
Oh man.
revolution of launch to come out.
Ugh.
So it's just not working for me. I don't have a good pair of walking shoes, and I would be okay with, because I've taken a break because I hurt my back from working overtime, a lot of
Right.
overtime a few months ago. And so I'm doing physical therapy for my back, and walking would be the perfect adjunct for that.
Right.
I just don't have a good pair of walking shoes.
Yeah, I mean that's it, right? I mean, it's hard to find. That's the other thing. It's hard to find good. I don't say equipment, but like good
Mhm.
accessories or like tools that you need, even when you're severely overweight too. Like
Yeah.
weight does impact the way we walk and how our legs feel, and you want to be
Hmm.
comfortable when you're walking on your feet.
Yep.
And I don't really think most people design shoes for the amount of pressure that's somebody who's
Right.
extraordinarily obese is going to put on there.
Right. Well,
I see
like
a lot of that.
braceability.com has excellent braces of all sizes,
Oh,
like knee
okay.
braces, ankle braces, they have all types of braces. So I've gotten some really great braces. So if I wear my braces, and it might just be time to get new braces. So
Hmm.
like I do have knee braces that I wear, and like that's another thing, like that's another thing that we don't see a lot of in social media is equipment,
Right.
which would be great to see because it is out there, and it's
Yeah.
just, you just have to look for it, like equipment, safety equipment and proper equipment to use. Because you can, like, when people say, oh, you can't jump and you can't do this and you can't do that, well, you just have to be careful.
Right.
There's a modification for everything. You can do jumping jacks, and you can, do box jumps, and maybe I can't do 18-inch box jumps, but
Right. Right.
you just have to be careful
Yeah.
with it.
Yeah. I'm going to say hi to Ginger and
Hi,
Mikey, who just
Ginger.
entered the chat. Hey guys,
Biggest
thank you so much for
Mikey, what's
coming.
up?
All right, my husband too. Hi, hello. He's just
What,
hanging out
what?
there watching. What? Um, yeah,
Hey,
I
Dad.
mean, it would be nice to have. It would be nice to see more. It would be really nice if the way that we didn't see reality of being morbidly obese was on 600 Pound Life. Like
Yeah.
that would really. I mean, I don't think even that's kind of reality. I mean, that's I think that's even edited a lot and there's a lot of setup there. But I mean, like, seriously, that's what we have, right? I mean, we don't have, there's nobody out there for a lot of the spaces making their own kind of content and showing everything, showing warts and all about what it is. And I feel like in social media, we've got both ends. We have two ends of a spectrum. We have like the perfect, I've lost all the weight kind of thing and I'm like maintaining, like as you said. And then you have people who are starting out, but they're starting out, but they're not in like that severely heavy category. Or if they are, they're positive. It's a lot of start and stops, and it's almost gotten to this place now where I just feel like when I open up my Instagram or I open up YouTube and I look at the stuff that's presented to me, I feel like and this is a topic for another day for a longer discussion, but we've already touched this. It's like body acceptance versus weight loss versus, I don't even know what the third angle is. It's like, I feel even within body acceptance, it's like completely polarizing for lots of reasons. And that is like what that's all we see. I mean, I did do some studies and I looked up some information to see what was out there, and they've shown that if you're trying to lose weight and you are on social media, if you're doing something specifically like Weight Watchers, like there are social media like groups that they have, like their bulletin boards, or if you're like on a forum or something along those lines, that can be extraordinarily helpful. Like the support aspect of it is extremely helpful, like sharing information and but if you're like out there on Twitter or like on Instagram or stuff, they've actually found that it's very damaging. I believe the quote I read about Twitter was, to paraphrase it, was like, it is full of misogyny and fat shaming and hatred. It was very negative. Because it's like, I think we've kind of created a space where we think it's okay to say all these things and have all these opinions about people. And and people buy into that. Like, we've had to see entire communities where it's totally cool to like pick apart people. And then we see other communities that are like very supportive of a certain person and their journey, but they're not sure that they believe that it's almost like a cult like situation. Like, this is how they did it, it's perfect, but it's like this other person, I don't know what you're gonna do. Like, I always feel like people want to see a winner, they want to see success, but I almost feel like now we're in a place where they are more interested in watching somebody fail. Like, that's way more interesting to them. And that kills me. Because I am that person, right? I am that person, and I've been there over and over again. And I'm 45. It took me when I was 39 years old to get my shit together enough to even try to do this. So watching people who are younger, 20 years younger than me, I feel for that.
Right.
Like, it's a really hard thing to do. And it's painted as it's a simple fix, and I did it, so why can't you do it? And
I think that is a large part of why we only see the end result of people who have successful weight loss journeys. And can you blame them?
No.
I mean, I've seen people, we talked about this before too. I've seen people puffing on their vapes while they wait on weight loss surgery, saying that other people, they're here for other people to inspire them. Why can't they get their shit together? Like, are you kidding me? So that makes it really hard too. That makes it,
I mean, I think,
but at the end of the day, it takes a really strong constitution to just put yourself out there and be like, I'm just going to do this the way that I want to do it, and filter out unsolicited advice and opinions. It takes a really strong constitution to do that. And it takes almost, I feel like, so what you read, was it, what kind of groups was it? What kind of forums or support groups was it? Was it like online support groups?
Yes, they're specifically talking about like online Weight Watchers online, and like forums that I don't remember the name, but something that would be akin to like the Weight Watchers forums online, or like bodybuilding.com online kind of thing, where people can go.
These are like actual people. These are actual places to go for weight loss, versus Twitter is not a place to go for weight loss. Instagram really is not a place to go for weight loss. Like,
there's these entire communities that are built around it, right? I mean, like, they're
really, I mean, it's really built around social media, though. It's really built around a presence and an image. It's not really built around the act of weight loss. Weight Watchers forums, Weight Watchers is for weight loss. Bodybuilding.com. It's about whatever, weight loss, bodybuilding, gaining weight for bodybuilding purposes, or whatever. But even though it's a community around somebody losing weight, or looking like you're losing weight, or buying my booty bands or whatever, it's about an image. It's still social media, and that's what gives it the propensity for the misogyny, the toxicity, it only means this because I said it means this. No, you can't use my hashtag,
right. Well, I mean,
I think
it's interesting because I would love to see a study from like a sociological or like communications point of view on how social media affects the perception of obesity. I'm sure we kind of have a good idea, but I would love to see some like data and some real kind of like research into that, where like people are interviewed, you have like, there's like some real data driven to go behind the actual feelings that we feel. But it's like, so you have to make a choice then, almost like, are you going to, if you want to be in this space, do you want to be somebody, so you have to almost like, you have to make a choice. Are you going to be somebody who is kind of at the end of their journey and is just kind of like putting themselves out there to talk about like, to talk about their daily like maintenance or, what it was like and blah, blah. And, you have that, or are you going to put yourself in the position where you're starting and you're open to a lot of, on both ends, you're open to a lot of criticism. But I mean, where's the middle? Like, what's the middle ground? Like, if you start a journey or you're at the end maintenance your journey, that's like the two places. So what's the middle place?
Maybe you're that really patient person who can film the first half and then get halfway and then document your second half while you talk about your first half and have footage of the first half.
Right.
I don't know. Like, I don't know. I don't know what the median is.
The people who I see that are successful in showing that full range are the people who've had weight loss surgery, because it happens that fast for them, that they're able to document a huge change in a short amount of time. And I feel like, and I know this because every time I open my Instagram and I look at something, it's there. These people are referencing their weight loss surgery. And again, I have no problem with that. But, that is like one tool in the toolbox, and not everybody can do that or wants to do that. So that is not the norm, but it's certainly becoming more and more popular. Or at least, or without with if you're going to be open about it, yeah. And I mean, I think there's tons of people who don't come clean about it either. But that's their personal decision.
Or I think you settle on being a smaller channel, and just staying a smaller channel, because really, I think you nailed it. Like, people have become, accustomed to watching people fail and being able to feel better about themselves through watching other people fail, as opposed to like watching people succeed and wanting to strive to be like, oh, well, there is a way to succeed, and maybe I can do this, or maybe I can do it, or maybe I can just lift up somebody who's winning, because a rising tide lifts all boats.
Right.
Like,
it's just so
I don't have to succeed, but maybe I can just be glad for somebody else who is.
It's just funny to me, not like funny, not in a ha-ha way.
Right.
But it's funny to me that as a fat person, while I have been the subject of some ridicule and teasing in my life, and I was bullied pretty badly when I was younger, but like when I was more of an adult, young adult, my 20s, but I really didn't get a lot of that anymore, right? Because theoretically we kind of mature and we know you should not be doing that to people, right?
Theoretically.
But it's just interesting to me that in my physical world, I don't get any of that. Like, I really can say that I don't get a lot of that, even before I had dropped a lot of weight. But like online, it's totally okay to completely tear down people, like fat bashing, body bashing, shaming, whatever. It's like open season. And I mean, I know that a lot of it has to do with the fact, Aileen, I know that a lot of it has to do with the fact that everybody's like, anonymous behind a keyboard, or you can be whatever you want to be online, right? And so, I don't have to say this to your face, so I can say whatever I want to say, right? But I mean, these are adults. Like, most of them are adults. Like, it just kills me that it's like, this is an accepted area of like social media. Like, it blows my mind, and I don't want to get too deep in it because I don't want to deal with that. Like, that's not what I talk about. But I mean, you can't talk about this without acknowledging,
without touching on that.
It seems like it's a niche. It feels like it's enormous area of people. It's very small in comparison, but it's very loud. And it's there. And if you do,
it's only loud because we are aware of it.
Yeah, but I think
in reality, it's like
you put it in there, you'll see
a drop in the bucket of the world.
Yeah, it is. It completely is. But it's there, and it's once you start. And if you're somebody who just happens to like go down the path, my dog is chasing his tail. Go down that path. It just kind of
dog's gonna dog, cat's gonna cat.
Dogs and a dog. You can kind of like go down this rabbit hole of it and feel like, oh my God, like what the hell am I like looking at right now? And it's crazy. And you know, I think that's another piece of it. Like, do you want to really put yourself out there when you're in the middle of this struggle and open yourself up to that potential beating that you're going to get from, you know, strangers?
Yeah.
You know, I did it because I was just like, you know, I want to put something out there that's kind of positive and that's like shows people that it's not, you know, all happiness and, you know, like you know, depression, I get depressed and it affects me this way, or, you know, there are simpler things to do. You can, you know, give some options and show things that there's not a one simple way to do it, and try to just keep it moving and keep it in a positive direction. But, you know, it gets exhausting. And like, I mean, that is part of why I wanted to also do this, is because I want to be able to say, like, you know, this fucking sucks. Like and right now, I think particularly right now, I am in a place where I'm not happy about my journey, my struggle right now. Like I am pissed off about a lot of it because I'm stalled and plateaued, and I'm just not feeling like I'm going forward, and I'm not gaining, but I'm not losing. It's just kind of like I'm there.
Right.
And it sucks. Like I hate it. And you know, I can't be like, yay, we're gonna be doing this today. And because I'm just like, God damn it. Like, you know, I nothing's happening. Why is nothing happening? You know?
Right.
So yeah, like this is the reality, you know, like, you know, we hit plateaus, and I know that they will go away, and I know that we can't go by the number. I mean, this is like literally the lecture I gave last week. So I have to, like, you know, feel that and internalize it. But at the same time, I'm so frustrated that it's hard to be inspirational and get past that frustration point. Right. And I just want to be like, I just want to say that it's okay to feel this way. Like, because we do talk about, like, you know, you have to get your attitude has to get adjusted. You have to have a good mindset. But you know what? It's okay to be like this right now. Like, it's okay to feel like crap about it and be there and sit there for a while and just like work through that. Because, you know, I kind of always feel like whatever you're feeling, you need to just feel it and like let it go. Like, feel your feelings. But yeah, it's disheartening sometimes. And I feel bad. I feel bad when I look at certain things online, because I know they're not real. And I know that people believe they are. I see people who have had similar situations as me, who've had, like, you know, lost lots of weight, had lots of surgery, and they have presented like a wonderful ending to their story and this and that. And I'm like, well, you know, are you going to talk about what it's like to be laid up for 6 weeks with, like, you know, drains in your arms? And because, like, it's not that simple. It's not that, you know, it's not that simple. It's not accessible. It's not cheap. It's an expensive thing to have to do. But nobody wants to really talk about that. Oddly enough, it's the plastic surgeons who are very honest about it, and they show all of it on their own channels and on their own Instagrams and stuff like that. But the people who are having it, I can count on one hand the number of people I know who've had skin removal surgery who've been very open about it. I mean, that's your perspective. But, you know, don't come out and be like, I'm so wonderful and happy and blah, 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 but, you know, and just ignore what it took to get there, and be like, and you can be that way too if you just do X, Y, and Z. It's like,
just go keto. Just go keto.
I don't know if I could do keto. I
really liked keto, but I just purged the last of my keto stuff this weekend. Oh gosh, it was like heartbreaking, all the money that I spent, and then I had to stop eating it, and I had all these, like, I had a keto pantry, you know, and I had to it's
expensive too. Like, let's get really real. It's like, this is not an easy, cheap. I mean, Like it is and it isn't. Like if you're going to do something
Hmm.
like, if you're going to say, I want to follow an X program, it can get expensive because you have to
Yes.
eat in a totally different way. If you're going to
Right.
do like a calorie deficit that you create yourself, then you can do how you want
Right.
and figure it out. But I mean, it's not something, it's not easily accessible for everybody to have access to the same tools and resources that other people do. The playing field is never level, right? It's never level in anything, but it's never level in this particular situation. It's not level to begin, so Lane says, one of the biggest focuses my dietitian has with me is mindset and being honest when I get discouraged. I don't know what I'd do without her in my corner, keeping me. Absolutely. That's my husband for me. That's Angie for
Hmm.
me. I'll call her. I think it's so important to be able to have somebody you can talk to and just be like, look,
Yes.
I'm fucking up left and right. And I
Yep.
don't know. And I'm just going to let myself fuck up for the rest of this week because I
Yep.
have to fuck up for the rest of this week. And then, Monday I'm doing it again. I know that's like the typical, like I'll start on Monday, but I mean, sometimes that's true. Like
Yep.
sometimes you're just like, I got to just get through the week and then I can refocus my energy on this. Like this is life
Yes.
coming into it, whether it's whether it's your kids, your family, your work, your job, your depression, whatever the hell it is. So Blaze and Peach wants to know, why did you stop eating keto? I never was keto, so why
I
did you?
stopped eating keto, Blazing Peach, because I had a hysterectomy in 2016, and I developed 3 incisional hernias, and I was living with them for years just fine. And then last February, I developed um, help me out here,
Bowel
a
obstruction?
bowel obstruction. Yes, thank you. I had a bowel obstruction, and I had to have emergency surgery. So after I had my surgery, the surgeon wanted me to be evaluated for weight loss surgery. So I started that process, and in the process of that, I was diagnosed with binge eating disorder. So now I'm doing therapy for binge eating disorder and was asked to not follow any restrictive diet.
Yeah, yeah.
And Lane, I agree. Everyone needs support. I have my therapist, and I work with a binge eating specialist dietitian, and I agree with you about the dietitian. My dietitian is amazing, and she doesn't judge me. She doesn't judge me for my food choices, and she helps me to, you know, remove the moral assignments to food, and she helps me to, just get the variety back in my diet and check my intention, and just check my shame and judgment at the door, at the apartment door, so that when I hit the refrigerator door, I can just
Right.
handle my business and just be done. So I absolutely agree with you. My dietitian is a gift from God.
Do you feel like binge eating disorder is portrayed realistically on some of the things we see on social media? Just out of
No,
curiosity,
no.
what would I?
Well,
Because I know we've talked about some of it, but
I
I
mean,
find your take on
I
it
think
interesting.
that so here's the deal. I think that everybody should have the opportunity to recover from their issues in whatever way that their recovery takes its path. It's not up to me to decide that whatever somebody, especially with binge eating disorder, because people came to their issues, to their disorder, however they came, and they have their issues, and they're still dealing with their issues, right? Like, you're not going to lose 150, 200, 300 pounds overnight, and you're not going to recover from whatever damage it was that caused you to start binge eating overnight. So maybe you're seeing a therapist and a dietitian. I know I am. I've been seeing one for almost a year, and I still binge. I still binge regularly because I still have so much to deal with. Like, I'm just figuring out now how I feel when I binge. Like, I just figured it out. Like,
Right.
I don't get bad news in binge. I get good news in binge. Like, so that's just me,
Okay.
that's just me. So I'm not going to judge somebody who says, "Oh, I just saw my therapist, or I just went for a walk and did exercise, and now I'm going to McDonald's." Okay, there's something going on. getting it out of your system, you're doing whatever you do what you do. Because I don't know what you talk to your therapist about. I don't know what you talk to your dietitian about. You may be getting over you that may be the challenge food that you're dealing with. It may be whatever. It may be what it is. It's none of my business.
Right. Right.
And it's alarming to watch when somebody says they have binge eating disorder and then you see something that you may think is a binge. But a binge is a personal thing to somebody.
Yeah.
I know
I
somebody who could eat a bag, like one of those small lunch serving bags of
yeah.
potato chips, and the amount of guilt and shame that this individual feels behind that is it amounts to a binge for that individual.
Right.
That's all it takes. This individual's in therapy for that.
Right. Right.
Who am
So
I
I
to judge?
I think you're right. I agree 100%. And I think like what we see on some of the people who have said they have binge eating disorder and what they show us on camera that we think is their binge is not what they're binging.
Right.
Because to me, I think that one, I mean, I could be, I don't think if it was me, I wouldn't want to put that out on the camera. I would not want anybody to see what I was doing. But I also,
Right.
but I also think that to me, a binge is different for everyone, right? Whatever, like you're just saying. So, but I think that we whatever we see happening, we define that as that binge. But I think the reality is it's absolutely not. And what we're not seeing on the camera is what's going on.
Right.
So let me let the dog out of the room for a minute.
You go right ahead. You go right ahead.
There you go.
Blazing Peach, it took I've been doing a lot of like CBT work with my therapist and some group therapy, and like there's a lot of tools that I've been learning about using to figure that out. And it's crazy because I didn't even realize I had a problem. Like I just thought I really thought that just fat people ate the way that I ate. Like this is just the way fat people eat. And I went to the doctor. Like I was doing this whole process with, I did the little informational session with the surgeon, and they're telling you how they cut 7/8 of your stomach out, and and then we do this and we reroute you here and that, and I'm literally sitting in this thing like almost in a panic, like my heart was racing, and I was like, oh my God, I have to have this surgery. I'm never going to lose weight unless I have this surgery. And I'm like, my hands were shaking, and I felt like my blood pressure was going to bottom out. And then I go sit and I talk to the medical doctor, and she's like, do you eat fast? Do you eat faster than most people? Do you think you eat fast? I'm like, yeah. And she's like, do you eat in secret? And I was like, well, I live alone, but like a lot of things that I eat, I wouldn't want other people to see me eat. And she's like, do you feel this when, do you feel guilt and shame after you eat a lot? And do you eat significantly more food than other people eat? And there's one other question. There's 5 questions that she asked me. And she goes, yeah, I think you need to be assessed for binge eating disorder. And I was like, what? What are you talking about? And she goes, I think you have a problem, and I think you need to be assessed. And then she just like started telling me about it, and my mind was blown. She was
Right.
like, and then she, like as soon as she said that, I like thought back to the first time I ever like had binge behavior when I was 7 years old. It immediately clicked, and I just started bawling. And she's like, it's not your fault. And all the social media nonsense that every single one of us in the chat knows what I'm talking about, like came into my head, and I was like, no, it's all my fault. I did this to myself.
Right.
It's all my fault. It's all my fault. I deserve everything that's happening to me. It's all my fault. Like that right there, that's the effect that social media has on obesity that I have a problem with. Like
Right.
it took months for my therapist to get me to be able to say, well, maybe there might be some societal influence. And even then I was like, but still, what the fuck is society going to do for me now? I have to do all the work to fix this. I did this. Society may have influenced me, but I have to do all the work. Like,
Right.
it was crazy. She was like, wow, you are hard on yourself. And I was like, well, if I'm not, I know who's going to be, you know?
Right? What do you mean? That's my favorite hobby. What's being mean to myself is my favorite pastime. What do you want me to give up what I do so well? Yeah, I absolutely. I mean, you are the person who's really opened my eyes to looking at binge eating disorder in a completely different way than I ever had thought. Like, I have to admittedly say I never thought of it a lot prior, maybe in passing, but like, you know, to hear what what you're describing and what you're doing to treat it and how the approach that you're taking to treating it has been really, really insightful.
And again, I just want to say that, like, my experience is entirely just mine. Like, I'm
Yeah.
not putting what I do off on anybody else, and nobody else has to do what I do. I'll be 49 years old this year. I'm just getting my shit together. I don't expect anybody who's come before me or coming up behind me to be on my timeline either. So,
Right. But I think it's
this is
relatable.
entirely just for me.
Yeah, but I think it's. I mean, it's everybody's situation is different, but I think there are things that are very relatable. Like blaming yourself for what for that is definitely a relatable thing. Feeling like a failure because you cheated. That's very, very, I think, universal. And Celine says, I found a few influencers that are positive and real and got rid of the ones that bring me down on my Instagram. That's exactly what Angie did.
Yep.
And I've noticed a big change, and I really have to do this.
Yep.
Yeah.
I got off Instagram altogether. I have no Instagram, and my YouTube is so different than it was this time last year. My Instagram is my Instagram is dead. So my Instagram is, I mean, if you look on my YouTube and my Instagram, you see like where all my keto content was, and I was like stressing about my ketones and all this stuff,
Right.
and then it just kind of like
dropped.
It just peters out.
And then you killed Twitter. You just 86.
I killed Twitter.
Yeah.
Twitter killed itself.
Yes. Yeah.
Twitter's just gross. I don't know how anybody still does it, touching all that poop like that.
I have a very highly curated Twitter feed right now. I like the mute button a lot. It helps a lot. But it's so interesting. I relate so hard to like the blame situation. Like even now looking at like knowing, like I said, I'm in a plateau. I'm blaming myself for it right now. Like I'm like, well, what can I do? What am I supposed to do? Like, how am I supposed to get? And I know good that it's going to pass. And I have to, if I might change something, but I'm going to sit here and I've been sitting here blaming myself for like a week and a half. So hi, Leslie.
Hi, Leslie.
Yes, Twitter is a mess, but it's kind of fun mess. I feel like. Yeah, it is. You know what it is at this point? Angie just threw herself out. She's so funny. She'll be back in a second. I guarantee it. You know what it is? I've been able to rationalize it by looking at it all at this point as entertainment, because. Yep, here she is. Because I can't.
Get that.
I know, because I can't accept that this is normal. Like it's entertainment. It's like Days of Our Lives for me. Like that's where I look at it now. Because if I look at it any other way and get really, really, really involved, I'm going to get like crazy. So I can't. And that's kind of where I was at the end of last year. I was like really involved, and it was just too much.
Twitter blew my mind. Twitter blew my mind, and I was like, nope. I was like, that guy. Time to go. Time to go.
Well, if
got
it's
into
something
one
that
Twitter
makes you
fight and I
feel worse than
realized
you
I was
did
not made
before,
for
yeah.
it.
Yeah, if you feel worse than you did when you started, she did it again. I'm gonna have to. I'm sorry.
I went to hit the chat
I
button.
couldn't even say anything. I've been laughing the whole time.
Oh,
Oh my god.
I just went to go look in the chat. I'm just, oh,
Uh-huh.
golly.
Uh-huh.
I'm not
Yeah,
going to touch any more buttons. You're
don't
just
touch
going to
the
have to
keyboard
read all
anymore.
the comments to me.
I'll read the comments, yes. So like I said,
So
yeah, I said
embarrassing.
my break from school and work and such, and I can't get invested. Amen. Yeah, I kind of put it in its proper place, right? It's on a shelf that it's there. And when I'm not paying attention to my family, my house, myself, I look and I look at it and then I can take it down. I've been nominated as lead host. Yes, apparently. Andrew's gonna keep logging it out, not telling me. It's all good. Yeah, I have to find. She yeeted herself.
I yeeted myself twice. I went, yee. I'm such a dink.
That's all right. It's all right.
Oh my
You
gosh.
boomer, you boomer.
Yes. I fully embrace the boom. I fully embrace it. I'm a boom
So I
boom
think what I'm
girl.
trying to learn over this next year is to put it in its right place. You know, I think, you know, when you're down in it, like when you're in when I'm like head down, really deep in my like exercise, fitness, like weight loss thing, I can look at social media and find and look at the people who are being successful, who are positive, and take something from that. And then when I'm not, and I look at what's going on, I'm just like, this is depressing as fuck, man. And some of it makes me angry, some of it makes me frustrated, some of it makes me really sad. So I got to figure it out. I think it's going to have to be. I might have to pull an. I don't want to do that though. I've had my account for like 15 years.
I had my account for 9 years when I.
Yeah, I think part of its problem is I'm attached to a very large librarian community too. So I kind of like, for professional reasons, I keep that. So, but yeah, I mean, my thing right now is I just watch, and I might get a snarky comment in every now and again when I feel like it. And for the most part, I just kind of laugh because we're adults. We're all adults.
Are you sure about that?
I'm pretty sure about that. I'm into fitness whole ass burger in my pie hole. Amen, Leslie. I want a burger so bad. So
I want spaghetti.
Really?
Yeah.
I eat a lot of shake. See, I was laughing because you were like totally calling me out at the beginning with the sweet potato, spinach, and chicken. Which is the three staples of my meal.
It was so good at first. It was like really tasty, and because I had never had like roasted sweet potatoes. Like I'd only had like candied sweet potatoes at Thanksgiving. Like that's what my mom made. You know, I didn't know you could just like throw some sweet potatoes in the oven and have a sweet potato, like a potato. Like who knew? I didn't know how to cook back then. I was like, oh, this is really good. The chicken was terrible, though. The chicken was terrible. I didn't know how to cook no chicken. Like, I could probably make some chicken now and, like, have some, you know, pretty tasty chicken and spinach, but not every day.
No. So Scott says, I'm feeling attacked. Are we pigs and yes, I am feeling attacked. Just a little bit, just a slight amount. No. I mean, like I do eat a variety of stuff. I cauliflower rice and 2 duck eggs for. I don't know if I can't. I tried the cauliflower rice and I
want to try duck eggs.
I didn't try it. I couldn't convince myself that it was. I had tacos for lunch, and that was good. Scott made tacos, and that was good.
Chicken sweet potato tacos.
No, they were ground
in a spinach shell.
Don't attack my sweet potatoes. Well, I should also say this, that I have, like, other problem is I have diverticulitis and IBS, and so it limits
That's
the
tough.
food that I can eat, and not pay for it later on. So,
Yes.
and I don't eat seafood. If it comes out of the ocean, I'm not eating it, which also limits a lot of proteins that I can eat. So, that's another thing.
Do
So,
you know what I have been loving lately is oysters. Like, I
really?
have been loving oysters lately. So good.
Yeah, I can't do that.
With a little lemon juice and some Tabasco sauce. Just
No, thank you. None. Yeah,
I never thought I would like them, but they're so good. Cause that's my challenge. Like I binge when I feel good and I binge when I'm in a food rut. If I keep eating the same foods over and over again, I'll start binging. So I challenge myself to try new foods. So every time I go out to a restaurant, if they have oysters, well, no, let me not say that. If I go to a steakhouse, my work wife is a
Mhm.
steakhouse whore. She loves
Okay.
steakhouses. Don't tell her I called her a whore. She'll get mad. But she loves her little steakhouses. So we go to steakhouses. She gets calamari for the appetizer. I get oysters.
Yeah. See, I think that this year, or like and I mean the year of COVID that we've had so far, is kind of what is maybe throwing me off a little bit. Obviously, it's throwing everybody off a little bit, but like I don't have a problem eating the same things all the time. Like I love routine. I love, like, knowing that I get up, I do all these things. Then this is when I exercise. This is when the girls go to school. I eat these. This is what I like to eat for lunch, breakfast, lunch. I could eat. It doesn't bother me, because then when I would go out to eat, I would have more of a variety. That would be when I would eat, like, stuff that I don't make for myself at home. But we haven't been able to go anywhere for a year. So I think it's kind of been like hard, and I've not been eating as well because I just have been, I want this, I'm going to make it for myself. I'm not going to get it anywhere else. So yeah, but I definitely believe that, there's not one right way to diet for weight loss. So, like, I do it my way because that's what I'm comfortable with and what I like to do. But I mean, if you are in a calorie range and you can fit things into your calories, more power to you. And I've said this on the other podcast that, just remember that, like, 1,800 calories of sugar and fat and fried food feels a lot different than 1,800 calories of, like, good protein, good carbs, good. I hate saying that, but, like, whole food,
right.
like, so, that's something I think about, because my stomach hates me if I eat, like, a lot of crap, like, like not good at all. So I get that immediate feedback from my body. Definitely different things work for different. Absolutely. And it goes for all aspects of weight loss. I mean, for so long, I went through walking through, like, for so long when I was growing up and when I was older, a little, my younger, like, age, 20s, 30s, I really thought that the way to weight loss was you follow this meal plan that you're given, and you have to, like, go to the gym every day and burn X amount of calories and do this much work. And I hate it. And everybody who knows me knows how much I hate cardio. I freaking hate cardio so much, because I forced myself to do so much of it. So much of it, because when I was like in my younger, and I fucking hate it. Like, I'm not made to run. Like, I'm not a runner by any means. I am built for strength, power, not speed. So, and I would force myself, and I would end up, like, I almost felt like I was having an asthma attack every time I would do this if I ran. I hated doing, like, the elliptical. It was all boring to me. It was not something I could, like, so going was always torturous. But I believed that was what I had to do, because nobody talked to me about, like, you don't have to only do, that's not the only way.
Right.
So, when I talk about exercise with people, I'm just like, find something you like. I don't care what it is. Like, just find it, and then you'll do it. I like weightlifting. I like it for many reasons. I like it because there's also a really good immediate feedback to it. You know, you didn't lift that this week, but next week you can lift it heavier. So like, I like
Right.
that positive kind of reinforcement. But I started doing step aerobics about 4 weeks ago because I wanted to get some cardio in, and I love it. Which is like
Fun.
so funny for me because I am so like, anytime anybody mentions any form of cardio, I'm like, just take that shit out there and like leave it there. I don't want to hear it. But I actually really like it. And it makes me feel like I have some coordination and balance for at least the 20 minutes that I do it. So
Chicken
yeah.
shades is here.
Hey, hi. So I have got to find exercises that work with my physical limitations. Leslie, yes. We're talking about that earlier. Like, there's something out there for everybody. So
Yep.
no matter what it is, like if what you like to do, you can probably still find, if you feel like you can't do it because of your limitation, you can probably find a way around that. There's got to be some modifications to it. So like a good trainer will show you how to do things differently, or like, you know, people who are in the, like a physical therapist, somebody, you know, will be able to give you resources to figure out alternatives, because I believe everybody can move no matter what.
Yes.
Like we talked about earlier, how even if you're just standing up and sitting down or walking up a flight of stairs 4 times a day, because that's the extent of what you can do, that's good. That's movement, you know. Yesterday, we got a question about cardio or about strength training, and I think it was surprising when I said, you know, all you need to do is 15 to 20 minutes, you know, like that's what you want to do. That's it. Get that heart rate up for 15, 20 minutes. You're great. We were talking about planking, and somebody's like, I can only plank for 30 seconds. And I was like, that's all you have to do.
That's a lot.
Plank for 5 hours.
Excuse me. I'm going to plank while I watch Pride and Prejudice.
Right? I'm like, there's no contest there. Like, you know, but that's what we see, right? That's what all the Instagram influencers post or whatever. I'm going to go plank challenge for 15 minutes, or I'm going to plank for an hour. It's like, no, really.
You know, that's the funny thing. Like, people talk all this smack about like Chloe Ting and whatever, but her workouts, a lot of her workouts are the same workouts that my certified personal trainer, who's a level 2 CrossFit trainer, do for me.
Yes, this is my
problem. They're really simple.
Here's my problem with Chloe Ting. She does not look that way by doing the exercises that she's showing you how to do.
No, but her exercises work.
I'm not saying they don't work. I'm just saying, like, if people look at her and if she's like even giving the impression that you can look like her by just doing this workout, she's not telling the truth. Because she's got a great body. She puts in a lot of time in a gym lifting weights to get that body.
Yes, but her exercises definitely work, though. I mean,
yeah,
not to look like her, but and I think that most people who do like her challenges and stuff, most people realize that they're not going to look like her. And most people say that. Like, there's something about her that I think most people realize they're not going to look like her.
I hope most people look at any influencers or any people who are
trainers.
I don't
think so. Like I don't think so.
You know, what they're showing you is not what they're doing. I mean, yes, there are many fitness and trainers who put out YouTube content, and we know that they're working out. We obviously can see what they're showing us. They're showing us the workouts that they like to do, and they're showing us, like, you know, in 5 minutes what they do. And then they'll tell you, but they don't say, oh, but it takes me like 2 hours or you know, minutes a day. But I think there's other people that do it, and they're just like, there's no, you know, they make it look so easy.
I don't know. I think there's a difference, though. Like, I think there's a difference between the workouts that obviously that my trainer makes for me and what she does, right? And I don't think that there's anything unreasonable about that. I think her workouts are work from home workouts for people who want to work out from home, small space workouts, whatever. And that's what she's selling or giving away or whatever. That's what her YouTube channel is about. But why does she have to look like that with those workouts?
Right.
That's just what she's selling. Like, and why can't people understand that? Like, this is her product. My product is I'm going to put together a crap ton of workouts for people who want to work out from home. Who cares if she goes to the gym?
Right. Right.
That's just her niche. That's just like her, that's just like saying like Emeril Lagasse, like this is what he cooks in his restaurant, that he's eating scrambled eggs and cheese at home. Like,
right.
I mean, that's the way I look at it. And I don't see why people get so outraged by her and whatever, because I just don't believe that at least I've never come across any videos where she says, you're going to get my fat booty doing these exercises.
I'll tell you, the only person I trust who will say you're going to get a great booty by doing my exercises is Brett Contreras, the glute god. I love that man so much. But anyway, yeah, I think if I remember correctly, and I don't want to look it up, I think that some of the criticism I saw some of it was like from a physical point of perspective of might not be the best form that she uses sometimes, and blah blah blah. I don't know. I know that there are people just hate on her.
Yeah,
for some reason.
I think everybody hates on everybody, and I don't know. I mean, you could literally learn to do heart surgery on YouTube at this point. So,
God help us.
I mean, if I'm gonna be concerned about something on YouTube, it would probably be open heart surgery tutorials over Chloe Ting's elevated bridge form. Yeah,
but that ties back into like what we talked about in the beginning, is that it's a 6-year struggle, not a 6-month struggle or a 6-week struggle. And when things are packaged and in 4 weeks lose all this body fat from around this place in your body, it's like, that's not how the body works. You can't target fat loss, and it's going to take longer than 6 weeks. Yes, you're going to see a difference in 6 weeks, but you're not going to go from having like no abs to having a 6-pack in 6 weeks, no matter how many times they want to say that. But, this is what's thrown at us constantly, and we believe it. I don't believe it. But, I mean, it's people believe it, and people like, and then I think there's hate because people do it and they don't see the results they want, or they're not seeing the turnaround time they want. And that's when people get angry and upset and frustrated, and things start going downhill from there. But, I think that's a good place to wrap this one up for today. Come back on Wednesday. I want to talk about I want to talk about body positivity and body acceptance.
Oh gosh, here we go.
I do.
It took me a month to get over this module in my workbook.
I want to talk about it because I don't feel very accepted in the body acceptance movement. I want you to know that. I don't feel very positive from what gets told me. I'll let you in. I'll give you a little highlight on to Wednesday's thing. I've actually been told in a DM on Instagram to not tag my pictures with body positive or fat.
Don't you love that? Don't you love that? I love that for you.
Yeah. No, I loved it for me too. It was great.
And then go ahead and do more.
Yeah,
Did you tag more pictures?
Yes. And
Did
then
you tag your workouts. Start tagging your workouts.
I tag my workouts. You're right. And then when it was like, I guess it was like an international no diet week or something, I got so much shit. So I really like this. Is tagging I really have a lot of feelings.
Chicken and sweet potatoes and spinach.
I don't post what I eat. I don't make anybody feel like they got to eat what I eat. So so I have a lot of feelings about that I would like to talk to you about. And hear what the audience has to say.
Everybody come back on Wednesday so we can talk about more feelings, okay?
Yeah, I have a lot of feelings.
This is the place to talk about your feelings.
Thank you, everybody, for coming who came. Yeah. We really appreciate the support. Thank you for everybody who watches on a replay. Thank you for the chat. You were great.
Thank you for having me. I was nervous, but you made me feel so comfortable.
If you
I'm a hand talker. I'm a
it's okay.
hand ringer.
Please, if you haven't followed my Twitch channel or my YouTube channel, please do subscribe, give it a like, follow Twitch. If you're on my Twitch channel, please give some love.
Love you too, Leslie.
Yeah. Bye, guys. Give some love to, if you are on Twitch and you use Twitch, I highly recommend all the streamers that I have listed below on my page. They're fantastic people. Like again, I said, I'll be posting this up on, this will be up here on Twitch and on YouTube for a replay. Give us a follow, give us a like, say hi, leave some comments. We appreciate all of you. Thank you, everybody in the chat that came out. And we will see you same time on Wednesday. I want to say next week because I'm so used to saying that, but on Wednesday. So where we'll take another L on something. L for L's not going to be loser this time. It's going to be so livid. L for livid. That sounds good. I like that one. So have a great week, everybody, or have a great couple of days. Angie, I will talk to you, I'm sure, later tonight.
Yes.
So have a good night, everybody.
Bye.
Bye. Oh, God almighty.